You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Boston's finest after show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Boston's finest after show.
Yeah. What? Let's go. Come on. Yeah. Fingers for doing. Welcome, AfterBuzzers. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. We're doing, guess what? Boston's finest, TNT. First season, first episode. Episode called Everything is Personal. Everything is personal. I'm your host for this evening, Thaddeus Massey. Kevin Undergaro and Adrian Viro couldn't be here, but they will be here this next week. They will be here for the season. They are Boston natives, so they're going to be weighing in all season to keep everything balanced. So there's a nice fine line of what me and my partner here have to say. Introduce yourself, partner, across the way.
Nick Perdue.
All right, so hold on, wait. I got the gaze, the Uzi, and the Nick to play 22. So if you want to blast, nigga, we can. Yeah, come on. All right.
Very Boston, right? Isn't that that's such a Bostonian song right there? Oh my goodness, I feel very Celtic just listening
Steve
to
Duggan and Craig, he should be a DJ. West Coast, he's a West Coast DJ. Anyway, okay, so jumping right into this episode in this season, like first of all, let's give impressions of what we thought this show was going to be. Nick, what was your impression of TNT's Boston's Finest when they first, brought this show to everybody's attention? Like, what did you think this was going to be?
When I was seeing promos and when I was seeing stuff, like, I really felt that it was kind of like going to be Cops Extra.
Cops Extra.
Yeah, and so like the extra is like the personal stuff that you see going on and like the behind the scenes stuff, because cops really kind of get you in the nitty gritty.
Right.
But once they're done running and the camera's done moving and they catch the guy with the shirt off and his underwear,
right, then
they just cut to the next thing. You know what I mean? And they cut to like the next set of cops chasing the next perp.
Right.
But this kind of gets you that like you're in these officers' lives now.
Well, the funny thing that you say about that is because I think that the actual cop show gave these producers a template to work away from. I think they were able to look at this and say, okay, let's not do this, and this. To make it
so successful. It's like 80 years it's been on.
Yeah, but I mean, look when it started. Isn't it in syndication now?
Bad boys, what you want?
I mean, I don't know if Cops is Cops. I know it's airing, but is it? It's not being still shot.
I don't think there's any new episodes.
Right, I don't think there are any new episodes of Cops. I'm sure AfterBuzz will be covering it if there were any new episodes of Cops. But I like how it's giving me a different impression. They're actually taking the reality TV game to the next level, as far as I'm concerned. They're getting in people's personal lives, and they're giving. I think they're going to try to give an objective viewpoint here. Everybody doesn't have the fondest, perception of police officers, regardless of what part of the country it's in. So we'll see how well they are able to capture these officers. I think they want to get their
human side.
Their human side. I think it's not just about, because we've been exposed to, just media-wise, movies like The Town, and there's been other films I can't think of right now that have really highlighted and what's that?
Training Day.
Training Day was in L.A. I'm talking about in Boston, right? In the Boston area. And they've all been about crime. I guess it's one of the. I mean, everything about Boston has been about crime, the Celtics and the Patriots, pretty much, right? And bank robbery. That's everything that has been pushed out there. So I think that it's good for Boston, Massachusetts. I want to see where they are on race relations. I think that's very important. I've never seen a black
Bostonian.
Boston cop.
It's true.
Like Officer Dankers, his partner
is
in the Fugitive unit was a brother.
You can say it.
I can say it. It was a brother. You know what I'm saying?
Bruh.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they
interact.
How they interact. Oh, they shot what was that film with Leonardo DiCaprio, Jack Nicholson?
The Departed.
The Departed. They shot that there. That was about Boston and whatnot. So
let's not forget the Dane Cook classic, That's My Girl.
That was in Boston, wasn't it?
Boston,
and he's from Boston.
Native.
He's a native. Yeah. So we got a bunch of there's a bunch of natives from Boston besides Maria, our very own Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro, and Adrian. Yeah. Donnie Wahlberg, the Wahlberg clan is Mark, and Donnie is an executive producer of the show. Yeah. So he's played a cop on a number of occasions. He's this guy. Actually, I really want to see him act more. That's on a side note because he's a really talented guy.
He is. He's actually like a very good actor.
He's a really, really good actor. I mean, to find out that he was the guy in what was the film with
Saw.
He was in Saw, but he was in the movie with Hayden with Bruce Willis and I See Dead People. Sixth Sense. When he played the student in the beginning that was really skinny, and
that was him.
That was him.
Wow.
I believe. If you guys want to correct me on something or tell me about something else that Donnie or Mark, anybody that's a Bostonian has been in, you can call in 424-256-1729 and make any comments and say anything and say, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about.
Shut up, you don't know what you're talking about.
Already.
With your Boston accent.
Quick. I didn't even hear the phone
Wicked
ring.
Awesome. That'd be wicked awesome. You guys can call in. Make sure.
So, feel free to do that, guys. It's not a problem, especially since we're not from there. We don't have anybody representing from Boston today, only tonight. Next week, most sure. So,
he was in Sixth Sense,
He was in Sixth Sense. That was him. Okay, so I was right. Yeah, see, I'm on point with my film and TV game. Yeah. Okay.
I'll give that one to you.
So I know these guys, they give a lot of props to, and Ben Affleck is from Boston, and so is Matt Damon. Yeah. These guys are Bostonians. I haven't been to Boston yet. I would like to go.
I'm actually probably going in September.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Out there.
So there's. Oh yeah. I think you did tell me something about that. But yeah, if you guys hear about Nick Perdue going, you have to let the fans know when you're going to be out there and where you're going to be performing, so they can actually.
Once I get the dates and everything, then we'll go ahead and plug it.
Cool. Good. It's not a sealed deal yet, but it will be soon. So just stay tuned for Nick and his comedy hour in Boston. That would be great because there's a lot of heritage and history in Boston.
Yeah, there is.
It's on the East Coast and whatever, blah blah blah. So. Everybody that knows about Boston doesn't want to hear us talk about Boston since we know nothing about Boston. So let's get into the actual show.
That's not wicked awesome.
Right, that's not wicked awesome. They're like, okay, shut up. We know about Boston. We're out here. Okay, so let's talk about the show.
You guys are wicked smart.
Wicked smart. That's our producer, Steve. Steve is a funny guy. Wicked smart.
So let's just jump right into it. Jenn, because that's why the show opened up on Jenn.
Jenn, it sure did.
And she's 5'3", 100 and some pounds.
She didn't want to say her weight. She's still a lady. Yeah, I noticed that.
You saw that, right?
She was like, I'm 5'3", 100 and something. Right. I was like, she's still a lady.
But I feel that she is a very dedicated, very headstrong officer, and because it opens up when she's in the gym. It's 5:30. She's in the gym working out and really getting her game right. She's trying to get fit, and because one of the things that she said was like at any moment you could be fighting for your life,
right?
And because there could be like some 6'3" dude, 220 some pounds, whatever, that doesn't want to go to jail that day,
right? It's funny. She did say that. She said. There could be this guy who's 6'4", 200 some pounds, who doesn't want to go to jail that day, and that would hopefully be the day she has her partner with her.
She's not riding solo that day,
right? Yeah. But one thing this officer has to her benefit is that she was a soldier. Yeah, she represented us in Afghanistan. She was, she did her thing.
She did,
and that's a testament to a lot of the officers. That I believe a couple other officers actually. I think Dankers actually was a soldier as well.
Former military.
I think he's a former. I'm not sure. I don't want to say what it is because they're really sensitive about that. I'll get it right, and I'll say what level he is in once they say it again or reveal it.
What branch of the
what branch of the military that he was in and she was in. But they served, which is really great, and kudos and hats off to them for representing the country in that manner. But she gets up at 5 o'clock every morning, just to go train and work out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about doing that.
I don't.
So in my mind, I'm getting in shape.
You're like I'm with you.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Jen.
I'm rolling over. Okay, at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm snoring, rolling over, and I'm not even up. I'm probably not even conscious at that time. I'm like mid coma at 5 o'clock in the morning. Right. So more kudos to you for doing everything that you do every day, keeping the streets of Boston safe.
That's that time of the morning when you like hit your alarm and you wake up, when you actually wake up and you're like, who broke my alarm? Because you don't realize that you actually did it when you were sleeping. That's that time of the morning.
My alarm doesn't even go off at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, there you go. At least I try. At least I set mine and then break the alarm. Yeah. Okay, so Jen, she works out, and that's where we get the intro to her. So she's a really dedicated officer, and it's really good to see that she's really takes her job seriously. So she has a partner named Pat. Yeah. And they've been working together for a few months. And it hasn't been long.
So they're fresh together.
Yeah, they're fresh. And it seems like they have a good rapport. So far, so good. And they haven't encountered anything serious. We first see them as they're introduced to us as they're just being partners. Yeah. And they're just kind of,
riding around,
having regular banter. And then we get introduced to Dankers. I can't remember Dankers' first name, but him and his partner. And they are from the Fugitive unit. Yeah. And they have to track down a known drug dealer. Yeah. The Fugitive happens to be a drug dealer named Anthony Woodrum, who they have to find. Mm-hmm. So they think this guy is obviously, I guess he was supposed to be at a halfway house or something like that.
And he left. He walked out.
He bounced, and he wasn't supposed to bounce.
He said, I'm through.
Right. So now they got to try to flush this guy out. Yeah. And I guess he has street gang ties as well, along with and he's kind of which I guess what would be called an OG. Mm. He's not a young punk.
Not a young whippersnapper.
No, he's not a young whippersnapper at all. This guy's a little older, so they feel like, I think they call him Drop Rock. That's his street name, Drop Rock, because he drops rocks. I mean, that's what it came from. He drops rocks.
I guess it's better than calling him Dime Dropper, right? Because he drops dimes.
Well, if he drops dimes, that means he's a snitch, and he'd probably be dead already.
No, if he's on the court, he's dropping dimes to the no, too much.
Yeah, too much.
Okay, moving on. So
you can call Paul Pierce that.
Yeah, I can think. Yeah,
dime dropper.
Exactly. It was a Bob Cousy. He was in Boston, right? Was it?
I have no idea.
Pistol
You're going
Pete,
way
right?
back.
Yeah, I know.
That was like 2 generations before. 3 generations before.
I'm trying to get that Boston heritage.
Exactly. So they're looking for Woodrum. They're looking for this guy. And they start. They figure out that they're gonna have to knock on some doors to flush him out. They go to their first house. They knock on a door. They knock on.
Well. Let's tell them like what their plan was.
Yeah, go ahead. Break that down real quick.
There was like, because he had a lot of places to go to hide basically. Mm-hmm. There was I don't want to say that he had like 5 to 6 places that he could have gone to. Right. Because they had files on all these places. Right. So they decided to leave one place was stone unturned, basically, which was his baby mama or his girlfriend or something. It was Patty.
Something
Patty
like
was her name, right?
Something like that. I'm not sure. I remember they checked. They decided to leave one.
Yeah, place. I know it was a female's house, right? And so I want to say it could have either been his sister or like his.
No, it wasn't his sister because his sister's where they picked his nephew up at.
Okay, so it was his baby mama or it was his like girlfriend. Like I know it was like someone close to him in
because they know everybody will make those phone calls and they say cops is looking for you. Yeah, you better hide. so
they were like, we're going everywhere else but this place. Right. So he'll eventually kind of trickle down over there and then. That's where they'll bring the heat and get him over there.
Exactly.
So where they go first?
So they go to one of his known associates who there happens to be, I guess, 2 female drug dealers there that have warrants. They're getting everybody on these warrants.
Yeah.
Now, this is the part that I have an issue with. Okay? This is the part I have an issue with Boston. And you know what? It's not Boston. It's cops. Okay? Just walk into people's house. You got to have a warrant. They didn't show them. They're pulling out a warrant. or anything. And it's funny, but it's really not funny because if that happens to you, you're pissed.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're looking for somebody
that's not
me.
Yeah.
You know it's not me that you're looking for, and you know that person doesn't live here. Even though you think I may be harboring them or it's a possibility, you have to have a warrant. You just can't walk into somebody's house. True. So I would like to see them display.
But did they let them in? Because you don't have to let the police in if they don't have a warrant.
You have to let them in. I mean, you have to. You're right. You don't have to let them in.
You don't have to let them in.
So they have to have paperwork.
Yeah. Because like they
signed by the judge.
They just can't come in
right.
to
yeah, like they got invited for Sunday brunch.
Exactly.
Like, what?
It's walking right in. Like,
I mean, maybe they had it and they just didn't show it. I don't know. Maybe that's the editing.
Could have
been
cut out. Yeah. So
right.
for time purposes or whatever.
But one thing that I didn't like was that they arrested these two ladies. They had warrants, but he said, so what we did was we gave them a choice. What you mean you gave them a choice? What we did was we gave them a choice. Either give us information on where Anthony was at or go to jail. First of all, what do you think they're going to do? Secondly, they're criminals. Shouldn't you arrest them anyway? You're giving them a choice or whether. See, that's the stuff. It's like what they go to jail.
Like they're
playing
a lot
games.
Of games that.
So is it really serious and important that they go to jail because they're drug dealers anyway? So they should go to jail. It's like, I mean, this seems like, whoa, there's an option now. You know, you give somebody up, then you get. I mean, of course, we've seen this in movies where the state and the government, they cut deals and do all kind of shenanigans to get what they want. But in the end, it's kind of like, well, if that person is perpetuating crime, like the big guys need the little guys and the little guys need the big guys. It's all one big circle on both sides. So the whole operation needs to be shut down if you're truly and responsibly fighting crime.
That's
truly.
True.
And this is why
a
lot of times
get it off the streets.
Right. And this is why a lot of times officers of the law and the justice system gets accused of corruption and whatever or whatnot because of all these shenanigans that go on. And it's so common, it's such commonplace that it's just like, yeah, we gave them an option. And dime out Anthony or go to jail. So they went to jail. Okay, they wouldn't diamond Anthony out. That wasn't going to happen. Yeah, who knows what that punishment would be? That'd be worse than going to jail.
Exactly. I could spend a couple nights in jail.
Right. Exactly. So they took them in. That continues that investigation. We cut back over to Jen and Pat, who have to go pick up this kid named Elvis. Elvis De La Cruz. Now, Elvis De La Cruz is on house arrest.
Ankle bracelet.
With an ankle bracelet.
Yeah.
Apparently for assault.
Battering his
assault on his baby mama.
Yeah.
On his baby's mom. Which is no bueno. But apparently he refuted that when they got to the station later. He said that and you know what's funny? What's funny about this is he technically had to get taken in because it seemed like the battery had gone out. He was at work.
Yeah.
Like, or I guess he's allowed to go home and go to work or whatever.
Yeah, because when you're on house arrest, it's like
tell us, Nick. Tell us what it's like.
I've never been on house arrest. So Nick does not have a record for nothing.
All right.
But I've known some people who happen to be on house arrest, and they have kind of laid it out for them. Like, oh, so that's what happened. So like you're allowed to go, and I know like there's a certain amount of hours. So it's like you can go to work and you can go home, and then you have like 3 hours a week of like leave, kind of.
Right.
So, but every time you leave, you need to call in and inform your PO where you're going and what time you'll be back. Like where you're going, how long you're going to be gone, and
that's how it works.
You'll be back. Yeah.
Okay.
And then so if you're not back at that time, they'll come looking for you, and they can take you in.
And I had no idea about this whole battery charging thing. Like,
yeah, you have to charge
you
it
keep your battery
twice a day, because I think the charging lasts like 12 hours.
That's horrible. Then you go from charging your battery to your phone. You got to charge your ankle bracelet. It's like
you got to charge your computer. You got an iPad.
Like, dude, that's a problem.
You're in the Matrix.
That's just an extra device you really don't need. You really don't need that, people. It's just more of an inconvenience than anything.
And the cord is only about this long too, which is the worst part.
Really?
Yeah. Like
so now your ankle is like a foot from the wall.
And it takes like 2 hours too.
Really?
So you're like literally attached to the wall with like this much of cord for 2 hours.
So it really is house arrest.
Extension cords exist, fellas.
No, I understand that, but I don't know how sensitive or like, because like there's special things that you need, because
That's so whack. Anyway, That's horrible. So they take him in, and Jenn, she seems very sympathetic to his situation. And what's really funny about this kid is that he said, I feel like the ankle, he said, I don't have a problem with, I don't have a problem with the ankle bracelet. I feel like it's protecting me. And his logic was that now she can't accuse you guys, because now you guys know where I'm at. Yeah. And she can't accuse me of something that I didn't do. Yeah. So it seems like he just like maybe like got a case.
Got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, where's the justice?
On his ankle.
On his ankle. That's messed up. It's like, it's not balanced.
It's not
at all.
It's just us.
It's just us behind bars. It's horrible. So this kid has to go. He gets locked up or whatever. And, you know, but Jenn was nice at least handling that. I mean, you got to think these officers, they're just doing their job, you know, a lot of the times. And because they're the initial face of the law that enforces the law, that they deal with a lot of aggression, a lot of...
Well, yeah. Well, and then also the thing about this kid, too, is that, like, because he was working a couple jobs, too, so he was, like, trying to...
He was working, like a lot of hours a week.
Yeah, so it's not like he was just out, you know, or just at home, you know, not doing anything, playing video games all day or whatever. Like, he was literally trying to better himself, and because, you know, he had to pay for this kid.
Right.
So,
he has a daughter by his,
Yeah, so it's like, you know, he's out working, you know, trying to do right by his kid. You know,
right.
And unfortunately, like, he just messed with the wrong one.
Can't win for losing.
Back in my day,
and when she complains about getting her check, she's gonna be like, "Well, if you would have never made up that fake charge on me, then I would have been able to work and get you some money." But no. Anyway, okay.
People tend to think Mike Lowry gonna be all right.
Right. People tend to think Michael Lowry's gonna be all right. Okay. Mike Lowry. So let's go back to Dankers and the Fugitive unit. We see Dankers with his family, and he has two twin boys, and they seem to be kind of what drives him, what keeps him going. He hates to leave them when he goes. And oddly enough, his wife is an officer as well. She works the late shift, like from 11:30 at night to something in the morning.
Graveyard.
Which is like, wow. Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy. Like, two officers in the family, you got two twin boys, but it's like they're rotating just to babysit and keep, like, that has to be, you know, he was in the car and he was talking about keeping, it was similar to what Jenn was saying about staying in shape and not so much about fitness, but like being cognizant of his surroundings and, you know, staying alive. Yeah. You know, because at the end of the day, you have to survive at that job. You know, there might be a guy who that day is just like, no, I'm gonna sit here and finish watching an episode of Boston's Finest. I don't feel like getting arrested today. You know what I'm saying? And it's a problem.
Let's see what happens on this episode.
Right. But going back a little bit, I remember Jenn and Pat, they pulled somebody over and they did deal with somebody who didn't have license plate, and the guy was like, he got the car. She's like, get back in the car.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess he's like, look, I got somewhere to go. You're holding me up. So hurry up and write the ticket and let me get out of here. But he did have a little bit of an attitude unnecessarily. It's like, dude, you got pulled over, you got pulled over. Yeah. So just, if you work with them, they'll work with you. Exactly. And they might have given you a warning if you were cool and just let you go, because they did show
that they did give the first one a warning.
Exactly. Because they were cool.
Exactly.
They played it cool. They weren't like, oh, like, I'm trying to figure out, y'all ain't got nothing better else to do with y'all time. Like, really, dude? Like, how stupid can you be?
Exactly. Like, you know.
That is just not wise.
So he was a black Bostonian.
Well, we're going to get to that. Because, you know, what goes on in Boston, we want to get the real what goes on in Boston and why people are reacting that way. So let's discuss Jenn going to meet her. Now, oddly enough, it's funny that Dankers has twins because Jenn is a twin. Yeah. She has a twin sister.
Long lost. Well, she's not long lost, but
well, she kind of is. She hasn't spoken with her. They're estranged. Let's put it like that.
There you go. Okay.
So they haven't spoken in 2 years. She hasn't seen her in 2 years. I guess between her going to the service and then her coming and becoming an officer and whatever. And her sister is on the other side of the law, so to speak. She's not like a criminal, but she's an addict. So she's kind of in that
gray
under the underbelly of society kind of thing over there, which she mentions that. She says that, it's weird that I'm over here enforcing, and
she's a twin.
And she has a twin sister who's living the exact opposite kind of life. She finds out that her sister has she knew that her sister had had a son.
A kid,
a little kid named Tristan, cute little boy.
Yeah.
She put him up for adoption. Apparently the family was kind of upset about that. She goes to visit the kid with the family that's taking care of him. They take pictures
regularly.
Or whatever.
She goes to visit him regularly.
She goes to see him. But I'm just telling you, they showed it.
Yeah.
So they showed her going to visit, take some pictures. Cute little kid, darling kid. And she's explaining to him like how she wish she could, take care of him, but she, they're like, well, you work 70 hours a week. Her lifestyle is not really conducive to her raising a baby. Yeah. If it was a teenager, it would be a lot easier.
Yeah.
But a baby needs way more attention, obviously. So she's not able to do that.
But I mean, and the kid, it seems like the kid is in a good situation though. There's two parents in the home. There's other kids there. Cause I think it was like those two little
boys.
Kids.
You're right.
Yeah. So there is a great loving environment. And it's not like these foster parents didn't want Jenn not to be in the kid's life. You know what I mean? So they Jenn and the foster parents have a good relationship. As well as Jenn and Tristan do. So it's and because I know she even said that there's gonna be a lot of people who love this little boy, which is a good thing because at the end of the day you never know what's gonna happen.
That's true.
I mean, heaven forbid something happens and to where Jenn is no
or Melissa, her sister, because she's on the streets still doing drugs. At this point. So heaven forbid anything happen to either one. Plus their mom. Has health issues.
Elderly
and she couldn't, and she goes to meet with her mom later and I guess have lunch. And she's, talking to her mom about this situation. I guess her sister was a little bit upset with the mom for not getting custody of her, but the doctor said you can't have the kid. You can't take the kid.
Yeah.
So she's on an oxygen tank for crying out loud. I mean, an elderly lady that's already having health issues that's on an oxygen tank is not viably going to be able to care for a toddler.
Yeah.
It's just...
It's not,
That's just a recipe for disaster, on both ends. So it was wise the way that it went, that she's gone to
foster care.
He's
gone to foster care.
Right, exactly. And it's with a good family. And that's a good thing, too, because not all foster kids end up in bad homes. People act like that's like the status quo, but that's not necessarily the case, even though there are horror stories and everybody's heard about them.
A lot of movies.
Right. There's a lot of stories, a lot of movies, whatever. There are good foster homes out there, and there are a lot of caring individuals that do care for these kids that are in need. Going back to Dankers and the Fugitive unit, so we see him leave his family with his two twin boys, and he's back on the beat, and next thing you know, they end up at his sister's house.
Mm-hmm.
At the suspect's sister's home. Yes. Where, lo and behold, the nephew just happens to have a warrant. Okay, everybody there for the squeeze on has warrants.
Happens to have.
They just happen to have warrants. I mean, I wonder if they've got a computer hacker that works at the station. They're just like, oh, you need me to give him a warrant? Let me just go ahead, press a button, and they warrant. It's like, what are you talking about? I don't even have a car.
Remember that parking ticket that you didn't pay?
Right.
Yeah, 3 years ago. Right. Guess what?
Remember that fix-it ticket?
Exactly. Yeah.
That jaywalking ticket.
Remember that busted light that the other cop knocked out?
Now, what's funny is, they didn't show a search warrant again or anything like that. They're in there. This guy sleep in the bed. Mm-hmm. There's like half a dozen dudes sitting around the dude's bed, flashing a light on him. Yeah. And they're kicking his bed, telling him to get up, get up, get up. And then when he reacts, like what's going on, and jumps up, then they jump him like he's an animal. Like how would you react? You got half a dozen dudes.
Yeah, because you don't know that they're cops, first of all.
Right.
Because it's black.
It's dark. They all got black, dark jackets on and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And someone's flashing a light on you. And they're like, get up, get up. And, that's a startling situation, especially for somebody that's living on the street or coming from a street type of environment or urban environment. First, survival comes first. So he's going to jump up and
and kind of react to protect himself.
Exactly, which is natural. You know,
and because he didn't necessarily swing or anything.
No, he didn't do anything.
Kind of, he didn't
attack.
Yeah,
you're like, don't resist, don't resist. Hey, what do you mean don't resist? As soon as I open my eyes, you're jumping me. Like, who is this? What's going on? Type of thing. And he was, after he got his wits about him, you can see he was civil, and he was like, yeah, well, don't be telling my grandmama I'm with H-Block. Don't be telling my grandmama I'm with such a, like, do your business, but you ain't got to do all that. Like, that's unnecessary.
Well, you said you was in the gang.
Right, he said, well, you said you was in the gang? He's like, yeah, but, what's my grandmama got to do with that? Nothing. Leave grandmama out of this.
I mean, but if you want to be in the gang, you ain't be in the gang.
Don't mess with a brother's grandmama.
Especially when he's living with her.
Especially when he's living with her. That means he ain't going to get dinner for a week. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta feel him on that one. Anyway, so they take him in.
Yeah.
Another guy with a warrant. They gotta flush this guy out, and they end up going back to the station to they're booking people or whatever or whatnot,
racking them up.
And what's funny is they get a tip, and they show the officers at the station sitting there watching a video on YouTube.
Yeah.
Somebody's rapping.
Social media at its finest.
Oh my gosh, guys! See, that's what I was telling you guys. You put too much of your business in the street online. Why are you doing that?
Trying to get famous. Trying to get a record deal.
Trying to get 15 minutes. You're gonna get 15 years. Trying to get 15 minutes. For real. Why do that to yourself? That's stupid. Anyway, don't be if you're running from the cops. Don't be on YouTube. Showing who all your they're like, oh yeah, okay, oh, so that's it. That he knows him. Oh, this is the crew he's from. Okay, blah 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 blah. Anyway, so they find out that there's a show coming up, right? From this YouTube. Now it's not funny because it's very real, very realistic, but it's funny because they look on YouTube, they see that this guy has a show that's associated with this whole neighborhood that Anthony Woodrum is apparently from or associated with or affiliated with or whatever. They go there, and it's like a very festive, very social area of town, and they spot like three different gangs that are in this area. They end up instigating something with one of the gangs, hemming the guys up and arresting them. Like, what are you doing? I haven't done anything. Like, what are you arresting me for? Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Like, what are you doing? I'm not doing it. Like, they totally instigated that whole thing. They really did their thing just to flush this one guy out. I guess Drop Rock is really a big time. He be dropping some big rocks because they're like, we're gonna get this dude. I mean, they're on him tough. Yeah. So they hemmed those guys up. It was like, I think they arrested like one or two guys. But obviously it agitated the rest of the crew, and now the word is going to get back to
Drop Rock.
Yeah. A.K.A. Anthony Woodrum, who was presumed innocent until proven guilty by a court of law of his peers, if he could find a group of his peers in Boston. So let's go back to Jenn. So Jenn meets up with her sister. She meets her sister.
Which is nice.
And what's crazy is her sister looked like a cracked out version of her.
Well, they're twins.
I mean, they are twins, but it was like, wow, they really are twins. Like, this is really her twin sister. Yeah. And to see them meet and talk at the table, and they haven't talked in so long, it was really kind of heartwarming, actually, because it's probably weird to have a twin and be disconnected from them. Yeah. As I know a few twins, and they are very tight. Twins are just... it's like having another you. It's weird. Being around them. Yeah, it's and they're identical. It's even more so than fraternal. I think it's like some whole other thing with identical twins even than fraternal twins.
Because it's almost like they have like some telepathic connection. Where like they don't have to say anything, but like they just know. Yeah.
Exactly. So she meets with her sister, and I guess she's just talking with her and getting familiar with her and catching up with her, and they discuss the whole thing with her son, Tristan. And I guess the family has wanted the mom to come around, but she just hasn't. Melissa, I believe her name is, hasn't come around like they wanted her to or hoped she would, so she could have a relationship, with her son.
She has a relationship with that rock, though.
Right, she does, unfortunately. We got to change that, Jen. You got to get on her. But, she's running around the streets, and she's after she met with her sister, she goes back on the job, and she's reflecting on her sister, and she's like, it disturbs me how well, she didn't say the system. She didn't say that, but I think she feels she's empathetic to how people in those similar situations are treated or what they go through. Because she says, you meet these people and they're addicts. They're not like hardcore criminals or whatever. And you're like, they're disconnected from themselves. Yeah. To a certain degree.
Because they become a totally different person.
Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of being disconnected, you need to connect to iTunes. And exactly, you need to connect to iTunes, download this show, download any other shows. We have podcasts, rate, comment, tell a friend, and just let them know that
Boston's Finest,
AfterBuzz, and any of the other shows that are covered Southland. Here on AfterBuzz TV, Vegas. Deception, Scandal, all of them. We cover them all. We do it all. And you guys can follow us on Twitter and YouTube and all that stuff too. It's really great. Tell a friend. 5 stars. Boston's Finest.
Comment.
So. I think that she's empathetic, of course, Steve, he's got jokes. Gold all of my chain, gold all of my watch,
gold all of my badge.
No. So anyway, no. Okay. So she's with her. she's empathetic and she wants, of course, to build this relationship with her sister and help her sister recover, and hopefully her sister will eventually get better and come around. This is obviously one of the plot points for her situation. I actually want to see what the deal is with Pat, her partner, and see
have him open up a little bit.
Yes, have him open up a little bit. He seemed a little stiff, but he opened up when they were playing with the sirens at one point of the episode. They were kind of, I think Jenna spilled something or whatever. She was trying to dry it up around the buttons for the sirens, and they were joking around about that, playing with the sirens or whatever. But back to Dankers. Dankers, he actually is rolling solo. He's riding solo, and he finds Woodrum on his own. He catches him, or he sees him, he spots him. He thinks it's him coming out of a Mercedes out of the last house that they were going to go look at. And I guess he was there without any backup, so he says, I'm going to follow this guy, whatever, blah, 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 just come this way. I'm headed down route, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So finally, another car comes up, pulls him over. Dankers gets out. Now there's like 3 guys in the car. Dankers pulls up around to the passenger back seat and questions who turns out to be Woodrum, one of the guys in the car. He's like, yo, what's your name? He's like, I'm Andre Epps. Right? He says, oh, really? Okay, you're Andre Epps. Do you have any ID? He's like, no, I don't have any ID on him. He said, oh, this guy doesn't have ID on him. So what they did was they knew that he has some distinct markings, which are tattoos, also known as tattoos. So he said, oh, you have tattoos? Say, I have tattoos. So he said, can you show me your tattoos? He must have knew he was done at that point. So he pulls his sleeve up, and lo and behold,
it's the cross and stuff like that.
It's the cross tattoo on his forearm. Yeah. And he says, okay, step out of the car. And this guy, they had to take him in. He looked like very studious, had the glasses on. See? He was sitting in the back seat at drivers. He must have been the boss. Drop Rock is the boss. See? So I guess that's why it was such a big deal to try to catch this guy, because he has a team working for him and doing whatever, but they caught him. They caught him in the end, and Dankers was relieved, I guess, because I guess the fugitive unit going after fugitives, if someone has enough cojones to run from the law, they're probably don't really respect the law very much. And if they're still hanging out in their same neighborhood, that's even worse. Yeah. That means they're ready to, you don't know what's going to go down or how that situation is going to play out. Yeah. So he gets to go home and see his boys again, go and see his twins. And then we end up with Jen at the end of the show, and she's reflecting on her sister and her job while she's jogging along in the park or along a river or a lake or something like that. And, Jen, I will say this, get those knees up, girl. Get that knee lift, that figure 4. But you are in shape. I got to give you that, because you are boxing.
She has to be.
She's boxing at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. No, so she's as if you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're in shape to me.
Exactly. I mean, she's working out at 5. That means she's getting up at probably 4:30, something like that. Anyway, let's go to news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, so this is the first season of TNT's Boston's Finest. We didn't get the ratings. We'll have them for you next week. But we think the show was probably going to do well. Yeah. And it kind of threw me for a loop for a reality cop show. a little bit.
It's a good reality cop show.
It's a good reality cop show.
Because it's like I said, it's not like reality. You know, it's and it's not scripted either. So this is like, it actually is like reality.
It is like reality.
Yeah.
But it's not just the cop aspect. They're capturing them as real people.
Yeah.
Which is actually refreshing, and that's going to help us like them more. I've already started liking them, so we'll see. I'm excited to see what happens next week, especially with Jen and her sister, Dangers and his family, and maybe they'll introduce a couple other cops, and maybe we can see what's going on with Pat. So let's get into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So season 1, Boston's Finest, episode 2. What predictions do you have for next week, Nick Perdue? Go.
They're catching fugitives. No, I mean, I really don't have any predictions, to be honest with you. Like, you know, I would say, you know, we want to kind of see what's going on with the Pat, and I kind of want to see what's going on. Like, I kind of want to see something romantic happen with Jen. I don't know what would happen, but I know it's reality, but I just kind of want to see, like, is there a mister?
Right. Well, that'll be interesting to see. I mean, my prediction, obviously, the only through line for the show will be their families and their personal. Yeah. Because any situation. Now, what would be cool is them having anything happen with anyone that they've blah 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 king audio. Sorry, guys, because I was getting tongue twisted a little bit there. It would be good if they could see and have any kind of interaction with somebody they've apprehended and taken in before happen again.
That'd be interesting.
Like something that comes back around that we're familiar with. You know, but it is reality TV.
Yeah.
So we'll see. As long as it stays real, we'll be happy with it.
Good.
Yeah. So until next week, where can we find you?
All over the internet at the Nick Perdue.
And you can find me all over the internet at Club Thaddeus. That's Twitter and Instagram. And you can find me here on Tuesday nights at 11 o'clock with Nick Perdue for CBS's Vegas. And you can find me here for NBC's Deception on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. as well.
And then before this show, I do Southland as well.
Awesome.
Throw that in there.
And that's a scripted show.
Yeah, scripted. Cops.
LAPD.
Cops.
Scripted. Of course, it's Hollywood, LAPD. Duh. Anyway, until next time, AfterBuzzers.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.